Hi, and welcome to the 2022 Employee Benefits Meeting for the out-of-state employees for Autism Learning Partners. Hopefully everybody's in the right place, and if you're listening to me speaking right now, we are going to go over some of the more basic items that are included in the employee benefit guides. This is a redacted version that I'm using for this meeting. I definitely understand if you have additional questions, you are going to want to reach out to your benefits office. So if you need to reach me, my telephone number is 818-883-3282. There is more than myself in the office. So if you're trying to reach me, once again, I am Jonathan Rudnick. You might want to reach out to Chuck Best. And we have quite a few other employees in the office to handle questions during the busy open enrollment time. But maybe you're listening to this video, after open enrollment because you are a new employee. Either way, the benefits are going to be here for 2022. All right, so without further ado, let's get into this. Let's get started. So one of the things that you will realize is you've already seen your benefits guide. So this is just your table of contents. You see that every year. It's letting you know that your medical plans are in here, your dental plans are in here, vision plans, but also all of the ancillary items that you have the opportunity to go into, like the voluntary life, short-term disability, long-term disability, hospital indemnity, accident, critical illness, and your EAP plan. So I'm going to try and give you a brief overview of every single plan that's being offered here so that hopefully that gets you going in the right direction. So let's talk about, before we get into all of that, some of the new things for 2022. If you are in the HSA plan and you are contributing to an HSA account, a health savings account, the limits for 2022 are $3,650, and for a family, it is $7,300. All right, remember the HSA plan is a little bit different than the traditional PPO, and we will talk about that in a few minutes just to make sure that you're going in the right direction. When we talk about the PPO dental plan, we are going to talk about a new rollover benefit that is going to be helpful for anybody who thinks that they may be an underutilizer of dental, and maybe in the past they've decided to not take the plan because they weren't sure what was happening with unused money on their dental plan. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. Prescription costs for generic prescriptions are going down to a $10 copay this year. Another great thing that is happening. Just as a reminder, everybody should have received the ability to log in, a direct link that was sent to each person specifically. Those links are unique, so you cannot give that to your fellow coworkers or your friends. That is a link for you. This is the way that we have done all of the enrollments in the past. It captures all of the data there and all of the changes. The other thing that it does is it makes life a lot easier because all of your information is there. And so if things are very similar, you do not need to fill that part out again this year. It will all be there for you. Now, if you do need to add a dependent this year and you did not have that dependent in your portal, you do have to add the dependent into the portal. So make sure you do that for the next year. Qualifying life events. Here's a part that's a little bit confusing about this. Right now, we're going into open enrollment, right? And so all of your plans will be effective January 1, 2022. But this is really the only time that you have to go and choose the plans that you want, switch plans, do things a little bit differently than what you did last year. After we pass this point in time, right, qualifying life events are really there if you have a newborn or if your spouse or significant other loses, their benefits through their employer, they can come onto your plan, but you cannot switch your plan at that point. That's why it is vital that you take a few minutes to look at some of your information and make sure, right, you know what you're going to do for the next year. All right, let's go to the next page. So there are two PPO plans and there is a Navigate HMO medical plan that is on the following page. we'll start with the PPO and then we'll do the other plan in a second here. And like I said, I'm just going to give you a brief overview so you're headed in the right direction. Even though these are both PPO plans, right, they are dynamically different. They do have some stuff in common, though. They do share the same PPO network. So regardless of which one of these two plans you choose, you actually are getting to choose from the same PPO network. So no providers are being left out there. However, the traditional PPO, and really focus on traditional PPO, the title of that is going to give you some benefits that are considered first dollar. Yes, there is a deductible of $1,000 when we go to in-network providers, right? And a $2,000 deductible if we're talking about your family being involved. But the main key to this plan is that there are first dollar benefits. And what that means is you can go to the in-network doctor for $35 copay, right, without having to worry about the deductible. That was one of the biggest things that came up in meetings this year. So just to clarify that. Diagnostic labs, when you go in network, are a $10 copay. And once again, the deductible is not even involved. So this $1,000 does not come into play yet. Prescriptions as well, whether they are tier 1, 2, or 3, these are a first dollar benefit, 10, 35, and 70. So keep that in mind that your deductible is not involved when we're talking about these services. But if we're talking about outpatient surgery or inpatient surgery, there is not only a copay, but you do have to get over the hump of the deductible before you actually get the services paid in this way. All right. The emergency room is a $100 copay plus 20% under this plan. Now, contrast that with the HSA. The HSA does not have first dollar benefits. And that's part of its structure due to the way that the IRS wants this plan set up in order for it to be titled an HSA. All right. And what this means is you can look right here and you can see that the office visits, right, are 20% after the deductible. And so what's the deductible for a single person on this plan? $2,000, right? It is $2,800 for a family. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these plans because they are different, right? Same doctor network, but still different. What if you needed prescriptions under the HSA plan, right? Tier 1, 2, and 3 prescriptions, right? They are only these copays, right, after the deductible. So when you're looking at this and you say, oh, well, why would I be interested in this plan? I don't get these particular benefits. Well, each plan I feel like speaks to a different person in their scenario. You could be a high utilizer or even a low utilizer and find benefits for the HSA plan. Remember, HSA stands for Health Savings Account. So this is the only plan that you have in your portfolio that allows you to put money into a separate HSA account. That money does not ever go away. It is your money, right? And if you need to utilize it for medical expenses, or there are about 200 items that the IRS says that you can actually utilize them for other than medical. So maybe like some dental expenses or orthodontics, right? Or vision, maybe you need some more expensive frames. All of that's included in what you can use your money for and not get a penalty for using your money for those items. There's about 200 of those items. When we go down here and we're talking about outpatient or inpatient surgery, remember that is 20% after the deductible under the HSA plan. All right, so these models will fit specific people. And the reason why we have 3 different plans is to make sure that we don't pigeonhole you. Everybody will find the plan that makes the most sense for them this year. All right. Do keep in mind that because these are PPOs, you can go in or out of network, but when you go out of network, obviously the cost can be more because the insurance company does not have a contract with that provider. And that means that there's a possibility you might see bills after everything's said and done, even though the coverage actually looks very similar, whether we're talking about the traditional or the HSA. Just going out of network means that you will have higher bills. So let's look at the Navigate HMO 1500 for a minute. This is a $1,500 deductible, right? Now, what does this apply to? Because we just went through the HSA, and so does this plan have first dollar benefits or does it look more like the HSA? No, this has first dollar benefits. And so you can see that office visits to the main doctor are $25, whereas we're talking about office visits to the specialist are $40. Because this is an HMO style plan, remember, you're typically picking a primary care doctor, right, which is different from the PPO. And right, you cannot go out of network on this plan. That's why it doesn't say out of network. That is an HMO style plan. So just remember when you're looking through the provider directory for UHC, which is a pretty easy provider directory to navigate, that you know which network you're looking at. If you need help trying to find some of these providers, definitely reach out to us and we will do our best to try and help you locate somebody. Some of the other benefits that are listed there are labs and x-rays. Those are $10 copays, but MRIs are 30% after the deductible. Prescriptions are a first dollar benefit, and it is 10, 35, and 70, depending on the tier, right? But outpatient or inpatient surgery, which also includes maternity, right? Because maternity is considered inpatient, is 30% after the deductible. So while you're thinking about what you're doing, this year, just remember, all of us put off going to the doctor for probably, a year and a half. And if that's the case, and now you're just starting to go back to the doctor, maybe you want to pick a different plan than what you had last year. All right, so now is the time to do that. So how about dental? Right? Your dental is still with UHC or United Healthcare. It is a PPO dental plan. Keep in mind that you can go in or out of network with the dental plan. And similar to the PPO plans before, if you go out of network, just remember that you're going to go pay more because, once again, UHC does not have a contract with that out of network provider. The dental is usually broken up into 3 different categories. You have preventative, basic, and major, right? Preventative care is covered at 100%. Basic care, which includes fillings and root canals, is covered at 80%. So you pay 20% of the bill, but after a small deductible. And major services, right, are covered at 50% after the deductible. So the deductible only comes into play for basic or major services when you go to an in-network provider, right? Note that when you go to an out-of-network provider for preventative care, the deductible actually kicks in over here where it does not, when you go to an in-network provider. So if you were going to talk to me about how this plan works, keep in mind, right, you only have $2,000 to spend per person on this plan. So if there are 3 people in this plan, you get $2,000, you get $2,000, you get $2,000. Each one of the people in the plan gets $2,000. It's like winning the lottery, kind of. Okay, I guess it's not like winning the lottery. But you get $2,000 to spend. And remember, when you go for a cleaning, for example, let's say that those cleanings are $100 each, right? That would be like subtracting $200 off of your bucket of money, leaving you with $1,800. So this plan obviously resets January 1, 2022. So if you had some dental items that you needed to get out of the equation for the end of this year, go in and see the dentist. And then, of course, January 1, this is all going to reset and you'll get a brand new $2,000. Now, for some of the people that did not enroll in a dental plan or said, hey, what happened to some of my unused benefit? UHC has added a rollover clause to their policy. And that means if you spend less than $1,000, right, they will roll over $600 for the following year. So if you do well this year and not a lot goes on and you're wondering, hey, what happened to all of my money? For 2023, you could actually have an extra $600 in your account, making it $2,600 to spend. So that's a nice little added bonus for this year. So how about vision? Vision is also a PPO style plan, right? Also through UHC, right? And the way that vision works is it's usually broken up into frequency, and it's also broken up into, exam, lenses, and frames. So when can you get an exam on this plan? Every 12 months. You can get lenses every 12 months, but you can only get frames once every 2 years. So keep that in perspective, and that's the same whether you go in or out of network. Just remember that, once again, your benefit goes further when you're in network. So how much does it cost for an exam under this? I knew you were going to ask me that question, and that's why I'm going to tell you. It is a $10 copay for the exam. And it is a $25 copay for the lenses that you get. So single vision, bifocal, or trifocals. When you spend the $25, right, they will actually give you up to $130 to spend on frames. So some people come to me and say, well, what if I just want elective contact lenses? They will let you use the $130 towards that. However, right, I don't know how far that's going to go. So my thought is, get the exam for $10. If you look into the lenses and frames and they're too expensive at the provider that you're going to, you can take your prescription to another provider and you can really just figure out how to maximize your benefit. I kind of recommend that, every year. So here we are to talk about a couple things that aren't really the same kinds of benefit plans, but there's an overview of the HSA account. Remember, this is a HSA account that you've set up to put money in there to use under the HSA plan. You cannot use this with the traditional or the Navigate HMO. And I know that's a source of confusion, right? The money does not go away like an FSA. An FSA is usually use it or lose it, but the HSA is not. Typically, when you enroll in the HSA and put money away, it does usually eliminate you from contributing to any other kind of savings account, including an FSA. So keep that in mind with what you're doing this year. The dependent care FSA will let you contribute up to about $5,000, right? And that goes towards dependent care. There's a little bit more about this, inside the portal, or you can reach out to us if you have any other questions. So something that I want to remind you about that is a program where UHC actually gives back to you as the consumer is their wellness program. Just by completing some online health surveys, they will actually give you some money. So please take the money. All right. Whether it's wellness coaching, whether it's doing biometric screenings, right? Whether it's gift cards that they give you to go to the gym, right? These are all ways that they can compensate you, right, for doing some of these items. So the money is up for grabs. It's definitely enough to go around. So please take advantage of that. So we have some other options, well, if you're still following along with me on screen, of items that you can get through your employer. Now, automatically, you get basic life. The basic life, right, is 1 times your salary for the basic life and AD&D, which is accidental death and dismemberment. So that's included, and that's at no cost to you. But what if you said, hey, Jonathan, I would like to get some additional life insurance and accidental death and dismemberment life insurance coverage? Well, you can go into the portal and you can go and check it out. Now, when I did one of these meetings earlier today, a lot of people seem to overlook the voluntary life because they say that they're on track, right, to get a plan on their own. That's great. That's a great thing. I am a life insurance guy, so obviously I have life insurance myself, and I believe in it. However, a lot of people believe in it, but they just don't actually push the button to enroll in the life insurance. So I always tell them, hey, take a look at the life insurance if you want it. This is a great opportunity to get it. It comes out of your paycheck, so you don't have to think about making the premium payment, and enough said. If you did not enroll in this life insurance previously when you were a new hire or a while ago, right, you may be asked a couple of medical questions just because of the time that you're enrolling. But don't worry about that. These get approved all the time. If you want the life insurance, we will do what we can to make sure that you can get entered into the system. All right. We also have short-term disability and long-term disability. Depending on where you live, there may or may not be state disability. This is the ability to get some money if something happens to you in the short term or the long term. We do have more of the details inside the portal, but the gist of it is that the plan pays 60% of weekly covered earnings up to a maximum of $1,252 per week. Long-term disability kicks in when the short-term disability kind of taps out. And so why this is so important is that for a lot of people, it's really the long-term stuff that you can't plan for. So if you were ever in a situation, and none of us really want to be there, so I completely understand, where you can never work again, the long-term disability is the only plan that's really going to help you out. This covers 60% of your monthly earnings up to a max of $5,000 monthly. Well, if you've signed up for this, right, and you end up being out of work for 3 years, I really think this is a benefit that is going to be massive for you. Sometimes I think this is one of the most important benefits that are offered, because you can't very easily get this on your own. It's usually either too expensive or too difficult to qualify to get this coverage, and people overlook this as if it's not an important benefit. To me, this may be one of the most important benefits, because we're more likely to be disabled than we are to pass away immediately, right? Take a look at it. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to us. So there are a couple other ancillary plans that are in the mix. There's a hospital indemnity plan, an accident plan, and critical illness. Down at the bottom, you're looking at a little synopsis of the hospital indemnity plan, but really, just in a nutshell, if you are hospitalized, this plan is going to pay you money directly. It doesn't go to the insurance company, it goes directly to you. So if you're interested in a policy like that, definitely check it out inside the portal. Accident is slightly different. Accident is if something happens to you because of an accident. And so the best example I can give you is maybe you're putting up holiday lights right now, maybe you're cutting down trees in the backyard and you're a weekend warrior. If you end up in the emergency room, if you end up needing to get stitches for something, or even if you become hospitalized, right? This is a plan that's going to pay you, and there's a list of copays and benefit details inside the portal. Definitely check this out, because this is a plan that's going to pay you. Once again, it does not pay the insurance company. It's money that goes direct to you. And so if you're involved in an accident and can't work because of it, right, this money coming in definitely helps. Critical illness, once again, slight variation on all these other things we're talking about. This is specific if you end up with cancer or a heart attack or a stroke, and there's some other items listed in the portal. They are going to pay you the amount that you have selected. It is a lump sum payment, and it goes directly to you. So once again, when these things happen, I understand you may not be able to work, and there needs to be a way where you can pay some of your bills. These are why these plans are being offered. Now, the last plan here, this is not one that you actually pay for out of your pocket. Your employer actually provides this to you at no cost. So they're paying for this EAP plan. And what this is you get to talk to a counselor, and you can actually get 3 free counseling sessions with a local therapist. And depending on what your issues are, there are very different places to go when you log on to the portal for this program. And you can discuss things that you may not be able to discuss with the HR department, like issues about stress, depression, legal issues, maybe financial counseling. Maybe you even want to know where to place an elder parent. These are all the types of things that can be accomplished through the EAP plan, and they can definitely get you going in the right direction. So you're going to need this code down here, and you're going to need the website address, which is located right there. So I bet you didn't think we were going to make it to the end of the meeting so quickly, but now you said, wow, this was great and I love it, and you want me to start all over again. Well, I'm sorry. I don't want anybody to get so bored that they hit their head on the desk. So I am going to leave you with this last piece of information, and I'm actually going to blow it up on screen really quick here so that you can see it. So there are different resources depending on what you need to talk to us about. This is in your benefits guide, so you should have a copy of this already. Of course, you have your number for your human resources department, but there are some other numbers here, depending on whether you're on the PPO and the HSA or on the Navigate HMO. Maybe you're having problems with certain doctors or different issues. That may be, excuse me for 1 second. That may be a reason for why you need to contact the carrier directly. So the numbers are there, and they're also on your ID cards. Maybe you need to contact the pharmacy because you're having an issue with the prescription, right? Maybe you need to talk to the pre-authorization department if you need to have a surgery or an MRI, things that you typically need authorization for. All these numbers are here. However, I sometimes feel that other than your HR department, one of the most important numbers is ours. So our number is here down at the bottom of the screen. It is 818-883-3282. Here's the email address for Charles Best. He's one of the other brokers in the office. Once again, I'm Jonathan. So I know it's kind of a running joke, but people will say, hey, I listened to this webinar. It was great. Thank you for helping out. And they say, thanks, Chuck. And then I'm like, but I'm Jonathan. So if you want to get to me, my email address is J like Jonathan, RUDNICK, and then the same last part here, lafinservices.com. So jrudnick at lafinservices.com. And once again, that number is 818-883-3282. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this short webinar. We did this so that you have something to review, throughout the year, but definitely reach out to us if you have any questions that haven't been answered here, and we will get back to you as quick as possible. Have a great day or evening, depending on when you're listening to this, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thanks.